Hello and welcome to the Sealark channel. It is good to see you again. If you would like to support this channel, you can buy any of the paintings in this video at robinsealark.com or check me out across the interweb at robinsealark or on Patreon. And that's that. Today we are talking about 5 steps to focused painting. For this exercise, I want to talk about a focused painting approach. We are going to walk through a mindful painting exercise. The hope is to get you in a mindset of being intentional in building an image and maintaining that intention through the process of completing your painting so that you can feel directed and end up with a purposeful work. The steps we're going to talk about today are as follows, 1 through 5. 1. Research. 2. Visual planning. 3. Prep work. 4. Establishing form. And 5. Intentional follow-through. The most important parts of working through focused painting come in the beginning, molding your thoughts on what you will be developing, your hopes for your art, expression, personal development. Artists are often in varying stages of work. You may be on a roll with your work, completely focused in your intention, subject matter, and style, or you may be more in a flexing time of your creativity, floating a bit in your artistic direction. But regardless of where you're at with your personal art, today's exercise is focused around intentionality, so I'm going to ask you to begin by doing some research. Spend time observing your thoughts, questions, current visual inspirations, past work that is inspiring you again, photographs or images, paintings you are thinking about, recent images you have taken on your phone or camera. Essentially, I want you to spend time reviewing your painting interests, spawning ideas for this new work. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of effort, but you do need to decide what you're going to paint and have a reason why. Personal to you, that's fine. For me, getting clarity and developing my intention came in a few ways. Specifically, I spent time looking at past works, things around my studio that I admire, and considering visual elements of that work that I wanted to draw ideas from, and reviewing recent visual inspirations that I have saved to my Pinterest board, specifically for my intent to explore color and light. After research is the phase of development. So it's time to bring your visual thoughts in this whole research component into a physical space, and let's work on step number 2, which is visual planning. Perhaps you are working directly off of a reference image, or perhaps you'll be making an image that takes more preparation. In this phase, I want you to get real clear on what you want out of your final image. Visualize it and prepare. We are shooting to create a work that is organized and clear in its visual intentions and forethought. Make sure you do any photoshopping, editing, imagining, thumbnail sketching you need in order to get a solid idea of what your painting will look like when it's complete. Get clear on what tools you need, what size you're gonna work, what surface you're gonna work on, composition. Make your physical plan of attack for your focused work, and stay mindful of the desired intentions you developed in the research phase when you were brainstorming and getting ideas for what inspired you and was going to lead you into this next planning. For me, this stage looked like sorting through reference photos from a recent trip, playing with color and composition in Photoshop so that I had a very firm mock-up, and also watching a YouTube video that a subscriber sent me called Using Color in Your Paintings by Marco Bucci, I believe his name is. This strengthened my personal intention in this exercise toward implementing more painterly color goals into the rendering. Step 3, prep work. Setting yourself up for a successful painting can be done in the initial stages of your process by being slow and strategic about your image building from the beginning. So, bravo to you for being intentional about this process. Let's guide through the thoughtful steps to prep our surface, tape edges, prime boards, get sketches ready. There are a lot of ways to approach the drawing process on your image making. Whatever you want or have found works best for you, do it. But I would just suggest that you take your time and make sure you get what you want. Be patient with the process. For me, this looked like doing an initial canvas toning first with some burnt sienna. And then I wanted to have a warm, bright tone on my surface that I could add more colors on later. But after that toning, I worked on a transfer drawing to my canvas board. This is essentially where I traced out my mock-up image, covered the back with new pastel, and then traced lines of my image onto my canvas. Step 4, establishing form. In establishing form, you're essentially thinking about your painting in a wide, compositionally aware way. You are beginning to build the structure of your image by blocking in highlights and shadows, and thinking about the ways the shades and tones interplay. In the past, I've done a more focused painting. I've had times where I've had to be specifically more strategically aware in the initial stages of painting. But generally with painting, I craft things from less detail to more detail as I move along. And in this specific image, I am lucky to have a bit of play, but I just kept in mind key things of blocking in colors, keeping awareness to light source, and I guess having a fun time. Step 5 is the intentional follow-through. Really working your painting into a place where you want it to be can be where you find the heavy lifting and need for patience. You also find so much gratification in this stage and get to really play with the work's development. Just because this was called a focus painting doesn't mean it should be a time where you hold yourself to a standard that hurts you or damages your relationship with play during this painting. I did a fair amount of my focusing on the initial stages of this art, making it so that I would be able to do some more explorative work in its development now. I wanted to focus on alternative coloration, challenging how I compose with color, what color I use for shadows, reflective light. Not only had I set myself up with a firm foundational base, a solid mock-up and intentional ordering in my canvas toning and drawing process, I also had that set intention and inspirational images in my mind from the research phase to direct my attention to as I formed my image. It centered my focus, not just to the individual components, but to my larger visual goals I had made, and allowed for this intentional, focused follow-through. As I got closer to the end of my painting, I was able to see the components or rendering I was most interested in. I moved my work slightly to a larger scale, playing with the ethereal, including more suggestive detail and painterly marks. With that painting, I wanted to see my landscape work develop further in a less tight rendition, more suggestive of curiosity and search for formal understanding. I listened to this TED Talk a while ago which discussed the difference between piano students at different ages. The speaker played demonstrations of the song as it would have been played by the students of those different ages and walked the audience through the progression a player makes when taking the individual components of a song and piecing them together to hearing the overall composition in all its parts and weaving it into one moving piece rather than approaching it in pieced information. I think the story, I think about it often and how it applies to art, and in some way I think it encapsulates a forming goal of mine in developing my relationship with painting, especially in painting the landscape of late. If your painting looks different than you intended after doing a focused painting exercise, that's okay. The aim is to develop your ability to plan through and choose intention, to see things through to the end, and to put in your best effort to create a piece or move yourself forward in a chosen direction. This will be helpful in you developing, and processing chosen avenues within your work, and will give you a greater ability to gauge yourself in moving toward decided goals. It's a piece that can be a reference point to you, so that when you are working, a reference point to you of what you're working on and where you want to go next. Thank you for watching. You can check me out at Sealark on the internet, or just subscribe for another video, or on Patreon, robinsealark.com, all the places. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.